Yo, 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 good people. It's your homie HerbMan. Busting you back upside the head with another hot banger. But please go tell somebody your homie HerbMan is on. And if you're new to the program, welcome, welcome, welcome. Please follow, like, share, and subscribe anywhere you can. Okay? Please follow, like, share, and subscribe anywhere you possibly can. You guys, we're coming live from South Africa, live on YouTube, live on TikTok. Hopefully you can find you somewhere nestled up for you to be able to get this subject matter today that we're teaching you guys, all right? So we've been teaching you guys all this time about how to heal yourself. You cannot heal yourself if you do not know thyself. So we teach you here on the HerbMan Show about the human design and the human frame so that you guys can be well on your way to happiness, wholeness, and wellness. We ain't gonna stop doing that today. All right, so you just must buckle down and go ahead and get into it. This is a free information station. You don't have to pay for anything that you hear today. All you simply got to do is pay attention. And how we do that on the HerbMan Show is by double tapping that screen and getting us up to 100,000 likes during the live broadcast. All right, and once we get to 1,000 likes, we'll start getting into the subject matter at hand. Now, I've been continuously telling you guys that there is not a panacea product, but there is a panacea programming, and that programming is the deprogramming. Okay, we ain't trying to program you after we deprogram you. Ain't nobody trying to program you after we deprogram you. All you need to do is just be deprogrammed and go on your natural basic instincts about life and what it is that you're venturing into. Once you take your program linguistics and program expressions off of things, and you'll be able to have a more free flow, a more intuitive feel about what's going on. So we don't want you to think your way through life. We want you to feel your way through life. Now, that don't mean that some things don't require thought, but at the end of the day, we're trying to get you to be intuitive and more discerning, and the more you feel, the more you flow. Okay, the more you feel, the more you flow. So with the owner's manual here for your funky measly $50, that's what we have gathered is a program that can get you back into balance with nature, not just by yourself, not just with the mama them, but to get you back in balance with nature. So we're going to provide more nature-based interventions when it comes to your owner's manual. Okay, all we require is a birthday. We don't need your blood type, your blood sample. We don't need a hair sample, stool sample, urine, a saliva sample. We don't need no live culture from that little nasty bump down there. It's non-invasive, non-intrusive. We ain't going to prick you, prod you, or poke you. All we're going to do is ask for a birthday, because your birthday is the longest information that you have on you that attaches you to the cosmos. All right. So if anybody is interested in the owner's manual, please DM us and we'll get you that information. Now, with that being said, let's teach you why the owner's manual is the most important investment of your life. Why the owner's manual is the most important investment of your life. It's because it's not just going to teach you how to garden for health. It's going to teach you how to garden for wealth. It's not just going to teach you how to grow seed from for your health issues. It's going to teach you how to grow seed, period. So that means that you'll grow any idea, you'll grow any creativity. You can be able to produce anything from your thing. Remember that the biggest thing about a teacher is that I'm a master student first. And what I learned in the student seat is that you first must birth the gift in me. Somebody, whoever it was, impregnated me with what I was good at and was able to teach me how to birth this what you're seeing today. And so a teacher's gift is not to show you what he got, but to show you what you got and then birth it within you, help you through the pregnancy of your own gift. And so when you're looking for healing and riches and family and community and belonging and love and all of the tangibles that we've been taught about in this particular paradigm, you got to know how to produce them. You got to know how to grow them within you and grow them outside of you. You got to know how to grow your healing in you and outside of you. Environment is everything. And we teach you guys every day about environment and the importance, because environment influences your life. The environment influences your life. And once we get to 1,000 likes, I'm going to show you how not only is this happening outside of you in your real life, but also is happening within you in your cell life. Okay. As soon as we get to 1,000 likes, we'll get there. You guys keep tapping out, keep talking. All right. So welcome to the HerbMan Show. We come on here every day between 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you what thus said God or thus said nature when it comes to how you are supposed to perceive this particular paradigm. The thing about it is you've been so dependent on medications. You've been so dependent on all of these I'm going to say exterior movements, right? That are trying to sway you into, if you connect with something outside of you, that will mean you some benefit. But I'm here to tell you that it's all in you. And what you have to do is learn how to use your two eyes inwardly. And sometimes that means you got to close them more than having them open. That means you got to close your ears sometimes more than listening. That means you got to close your mouth sometimes more than talking. That means that you got to be able to sit in the silence or in the sound of your own personal beat, your own personal music, your own personal melody. And so we're so busy exterior bringing in information that we fail to realize that we can internalize things and begin to get information from there. All right. So now that we understand, let's see where we at. All right, we at 2,000. All right, so my first question right here, you guys, we're live on YouTube as well, so this will be recorded on YouTube. I'm getting great results from YouTube. I appreciate all of y'all, man. I'm just trying to spread the word before I transfigure. Before I transfigure into my everlasting calling, right? Because I'm already walking in it. So y'all don't know that these recordings is gonna keep me alive. These recordings are gonna keep me in existence. Well beyond my days. All right. So we got to make sure we're recording ourselves in the history of minds and hearts of mankind. Now, the first question I got to ask you is, what is the brain of the cell? Okay. What is the brain of the cell? All right. Anybody know? What is the brain of the cell? You can holler at me on YouTube or leave comments, or you can holler at me on what's going on, Blank Sexton, or you can holler at me on TikTok. You guys, what is the brain of the cell? Okay, Manny78 said the nucleus. Rise said the nucleus. There we go. Come on with it. Anybody else know what is the brain of the cell? Okay, anybody know what is the brain of the cell? I need some more Congo. That don't mean that they right. Okay, so that means we need more information. We need more interaction because the nucleus ain't right. What is the brain of the cell? Morning, you guys. Good day, good day, good day. Grand rising. Okay, wake on up to this spiritual consciousness. All right, the minister of wellness. Rise said the mitochondria. Okay, what is the brain of the cell? Okay, so all of you guys so far have not got this right. And that is going to be indicative to how little we know of thyself. It don't mean no harm, but we're just trying to get you to see how far off from us understanding how natural, nature-based, traditional medicine can work for you, because you don't know your biology, then you don't know cosmology. And see, I've learned cosmology and biology to know that these motherfuckers is talking about the same stuff, but it's the one you got to learn from one of them. So if you're not going to learn from your body, then you got to learn from nature. And if you're not going to learn from nature, then you got to learn from your body. But if you're not going to learn from neither, then there's no reason for you to be asking for help in your time of need. Just go ahead and leave away from him. Because if you can't understand that this is the purpose for you being here, it makes no sense to keep you elongated any longer. If you're not going to be searching for the answers, then there's no reason for you to be here. Because once you get the answers, you'll realize that life ain't that bad. And the end result to this particular type of life is not death. All right, we're trying to get you in heaven alive. Now, I keep saying that, but I'm going to stop right here so that I can teach you guys about what I mean when I say that. What I'm saying to you is when I tell you that I'm trying to get you in heaven alive, I must get you to understand that heaven is not a locale. It's not like going downtown. It's not like going to Alaska. It's not like going to Japan. There is no physical place of heaven. So heaven is a consciousness, right? And so if it's a consciousness, then we all can get in here, dead or alive, all right? But here's the thing about death. Death is the end of your perceived consciousness, because remember that when an image goes into the eye, it goes toward the left brain to your linguistics. So the only way you know about heaven is because of the language that you called heaven, based on your senses of what you've read and got engineered in your genes. You've never seen this place. You've never, because it is no place. It is a consciousness, right? But here's the thing. Your consciousness is all about this right here, right? Your consciousness is being in the present moment. Well, how am I in the present moment? Through my senses, right? So I'm in the present moment if I'm thinking in the present moment. Okay? If I'm feeling in the present moment. All right? If I'm hearing. If I'm seeing, okay. What else? What else am I doing? Where I'm in the present, because what I'm saying is that I'm presently having to take measurement of the environment. So that means that I'm always in frequency. But sometimes my mind is different from the brain. So my mind get the privilege of going off the kilt and doing what it want to do. But the brain had to sit in operation and always be cognizant of all these frequencies going back and forth, right? It's going back and forth. This is a bi-directional type of thing, right? The cells are thinking, feeling, eating, they pooping, they working, they doing everything you're doing. They breathing, they living. This is your cells, okay? Doing everything you're doing, because the environment, all of this sensory, is going to dictate its influence. It's going to dictate its actions. So now, if the image come into your eye, and your linguistics is going to be the first thing to tell you what it is. Okay? Linguistics got to get you to identify it, what it is. After linguistics, then you have to do what? How to interact. Okay? How do I interact with what this is? Do I fight? Do I flight? Do I chill? Do I get mad, angry? Do I hit you? Do I get aroused? Do I get lubricated? What is it that I'm going to do based on the image, based on the scenario, based on the stimuli? Remember that fire, earth, air, and water. You are the earth. Your body is the earth submerged in an atmosphere of fire, sunlight, water, and air. Okay, so the body is in an environment, and just like the plant is, just like the animal is, and just like your ass is, and all of the environment is influencing the functionality of this cell, and it influences your life. So when I tell you to clean up, when we're trying to clean up your internal influence, don't be mistaken. We got to clean up your outside life influence as well. When you're trying to get your inside environment going right, don't be ashamed to understand, and please don't be misnomer to understand that you also must get your outside life environment correctly. So when the owner's manual is for this little funky measly $50, what big of a life plan can you get? Your doctor don't give you no life plan. Your pastor don't give you no life plan. So who do you get the life plan from? From Mama Nature with your birthday. If you're interested, please DM us and we'll get you that information. So now you're understanding that first I gotta identify. Now my problem with this thing here is when it comes to the eye is that the image is actually upside down and reversed. Your mind flips it and then put a program title on the experience, and then put a program expression on the experience. Okay, so the brain of the cell, you guys. Okay, to make a long story short, but I'm going to teach this today. is the cell membrane. Okay. The brain of the cell is the cell membrane, the outer layer of the cell. The cell membrane is the brain of the cell. Okay. The cell membrane is the brain of the cell. And the reason why is, again, because a lot like your skin, right? A lot like your hearing, a lot like your tasting, right? A lot like your seeing, the cell membrane is first contact. Okay? The cell membrane is first contact, just like your skin, just like your ears, just like your eyes, just like your tongue, just like your nose. It's first contact with the environmental stimuli, with the fire, right? With the sunlight. Your skin hits it, your eyes get it, okay? Your hair get it, all this type of stuff. So these things are holding frequency, okay? So there's a lot of things that hold frequency now. So now when you're looking at this right here now, so food got frequency. Your water's supposed to have frequency, okay? What else can we say? All right, sunlight. What else can we say they got frequency? Food, water got frequency, sunlight. What else we want to say here? I'm teaching you how to hear yourself. That's what I'm teaching. Okay? Food, sunlight. What else we got that whole frequency? All right? Each other. What else you got that holds frequency? Plants, right? So that's your food, right? That's your fruits and vegetables. So plants, the animals, all this stuff holding frequency. Clothes don't really hold frequency unless you're dealing with linen and cotton, or you're dealing with something from nature. You really ain't gonna get no frequency from that, right? So yes, words hold frequency. There we go. So now you got all of these things holding frequency. Remember what we were talking about? Words. So that's songs. Words, songs, right? You got sound bowls, you got all this type of stuff that are holding frequency that we can be able to input into the body. So this is the environment. Remember that your environment, fire, air, earth, and water, you are the earth, the body submerged in sunlight, water, and air. But then on top of that, those are other three meanings. The fire element also represents your mental health department. So then therefore that you are submerged in earth with the mental health stimuli, environmental stimuli, things that are going to stimulate you mentally. That's the fire element. You get this in your owner's manual, you guys. Okay, that's why the owner's manual is so important. Next is the air element. Well, this represents your spiritual health department. So that means that you're going to get hit with things that are going to be environmental stimuli toward your spiritual awareness, whether you like it or not. It's the environment that's going to influence your body to do certain things in situations. Okay. Then last but not least, you're going to get hit with bounds of emotional health department, right? That water is the emotional health department, which means that you're going to get hit with environmental stimuli that's going to create emotions. So I got things, my body is submerged in this matrix, in this heaven, in this experience, getting hit with mental stimuli, spiritual stimuli, and emotional stimuli. Fire, air, earth, and water. Okay? So when you're submerged in this environment, it's also the same in your body. You're getting hit, this cell is getting hit with mental stimuli because of what you're thinking is influencing the internal environment. What you're thinking is influencing your internal environment. So this is getting hit with mental environmental stimuli internally. This is getting hit with how you're feeling spiritually. Whether you believe or not is a spiritual position to take. So if you don't believe, you took a spiritual position. Just like if you don't vote, you voted. Okay, so you participated whether you participate or not. So at the end of the day, not believing creates still some kind of particular environmental shift. All right, and then also when you get hit with emotional environmental stimuli, it would also change the conditions of this particular cell line. So what you're understanding is by what I identify based on what I've already got in my library, right? So the nucleus right here is the library, right? The library where the mitochondria and the DNA, that's the library. That's where the gene expression is at. But what I'm trying to get you to see is that the perception of the environment supersedes the gene expression. And that's why epigenetics is going to be the best thing for you to understand through physics and biology. Epigenetics is letting you know that the perception of the environment first influences gene expression. So it's not starting with genetics, it starts with epigenetics, which means it starts with your mind. Okay? It starts with your mind. The mind, your brain, coincides with this particular brain. Okay? So now this is what it looks like, you guys. I'm finna show y'all some receipts. Keep tapping. I'll keep talking. Yeah, I came to teach today. Y'all know it. Y'all know that I came to teach today, you guys. So this is what makes you up, right? We are 50 to 100 trillion of these things, right? And they can mutate into hair cells, blood cells, muscle cells, liver cells. They can mutate into immune cells. I mean, whatever you need, these things are coming. And so the biggest thing about this stuff is that it can grow for you. It can divide for you. It can repair for you. It can do a lot of stuff. It can even commit suicide for you if it needs to, which is called apoptosis. So this particular thing is you. You can grow. You can divide, which is mean that you can reproduce yourself. You can again, you breathing, you eating, you sleeping, you drinking. This thing doing the same thing. It's shitting, it's pooping, it's doing everything that you're doing. But also, again, you can repair yourself. Remember that this thing repairs you too. So it can grow, it can divide, it can repair, and it can also knock itself off. So at the end of the day, again, this represents your abilities as well. This is what you're made of. All right. So everybody's made up of the same stuff. All right. Now, along this cell membrane, along this cell wall, okay. And I want you guys to follow me because I'm finna go into some herbs. I'm going into some minerals. I'm going into some stuff today now. All right. So now the brain of the cell is going to tell us a lot about what we need. Okay. So now we understand from previous teachings about extracellular and intracellular, and we understand the minerals that are needed. We know that the phosphates are more inside the cell. We know the sulfates are more outside the cell. We know sodium is more outside the cell. We know that potassium is more inside the cell. We know iron is more inside the cell. We know silica is on the cell membrane, so it could play both roles. We know that all of these minerals are called ions, right? Except for silica. We understand that all of these different things play a role. So you must identify, right? Identify, are you dealing with an intracellular or extracellular thing, so that we'll understand how to get the herbs. Remember, the owner's manual got all of this worked out for you. I'm just teaching you what's already worked out in your owner's manual. You get all this information from your birthday, okay? But we got to teach you. So here, so you see along the brain of the cell, you'll see along the cell membrane, right? It's got receptors, it's got information processing, the decision over the DNA. Remember, I told you that the perception of the environment supersedes and controls the decision over the DNA, the gene expression, right? The environment is going to get you to have to come up out of your library with a response. Okay? And the library is the programming. All right? So then you got your sodium and potassium pump. All right. And you got your ion channel bringing things in. Your ions are going to be your minerals, all that type of stuff. And everything has to keep a perfect balance. Okay. Everything has to keep a perfect balance. Keep tapping, you guys. I'll keep talking. Who's that? All right. So now we got this going on right here, right? Where we're understanding this cell membrane. Now we really want to understand what's really inside and outside the cell. Glad you asked, right? Even though y'all ain't asking, glad you asked. Yeah, I'm gonna keep on teaching you. I got to. This is what I love to do. Okay. All right. So now along the outside of that particular cell membrane, these are just some of the minerals. Okay. Some of the minerals that this cell membrane needs. So let me erase some of this so I can teach my YouTubers here as well about how to get this thing going on. This is how you heal yourself. You got to know how it works. That's all. Once you understand how it works, you good. You got to know what it is, and then you got to know how to respond to it, how to interact with it, right? So this information is new to a lot of us. We're understanding, we're learning on the fly. We're trying to take our health into our own hands, right? But at the end of the day, you must understand that we're all in this together. We all belong together. We all are relevant to each other. We all hold value. If I don't do this, you don't know this, right? So I had to become this in order to be an asset to the community of humanity, just like you got to do. Once you reach your purpose, then not only do you reach your purpose and you're able to live a purpose-driven life, but on top of that, you are able to also allow me not to miss out on what you're bringing to the paradigm. I can meet you, I can search you up, I can hear you, I can watch you, and you can add elements to my life. As long as you reach your purpose, then you reach the purpose of the collective. Because when you don't reach your purpose, then you also negate me from the quality of the gift that you bring to the table. Now let's keep it going. All right. So now we got these minerals, right? These are just a few, but I'm gonna put all of them up here, right? So we got calcium. Okay. We got magnesium. What else they say we got? Sodium. We got potassium, which represented by the K. Okay. That's just a few of them, right? But I'm gonna keep on going. We got silica, we got iron, we got selenium, we got manganese, we got zinc. Man, what else we got on here? What else we got? We got so much stuff that contributes to your cells, right? But look at what calcium does. Calcium stabilizes the phospholipid bilayer, regulate membrane permeability. So the phospholipid bilayer is going to be so you always look at calcium as something that's going to help structure, right? Bones, teeth, tissues. So calcium is helping the structure of the cell membrane. The phospholipids, phosphorus is also going to be helpful with calcium in your bone and teeth density, in your tissue density. So phosphorus, when you hear phosphorus, you know that coincides with calcium to understand, to more permeate the structure, all right, the tissue structure of the cell. So phospholipid, in my mind, if I was Rico on the block and you trying to teach me, I'll just know that phospholipid means it's a tissue fat. Okay, phospholipid means that the cell is a fat ass tissue. It's a tissue. It's a fatty tissue. A fatty tissue is a phospholipid, and that's what the calcium is helping out with. Is the phospho, the calcium, the tough part of the cell. Okay, all right, and then the magnesium comes in and maintains fluidity, supports ion pumps and the channels. Okay, so now calcium. Not only does it do the structural part, but also calcium is going to be activating the ionic channel, letting other stuff in. If the calcium ain't working in your body, if you got too much excess calcium, too low calcium, you got a problem. Remember, I told you calcium is at the backbone of a lot of hormonal issues. Calcium is also a signaler, a major signaler on the cell membrane. Again, it also opens doors for your other ions, which is your other minerals coming in and out of the cell. So calcium is a big deal, and a lot of us are dealing with these calcium levels, and we don't really understand it. And then for the phosphorus, okay, if you guys don't know nothing else about phosphorus, phosphorus is going to be an indicator of your protein. Okay, if you're eating good protein, if you're digesting good protein, if you're, are you getting enough protein? Those are the things that you want to be looking at when you got off of phosphorus levels, right? High or low. Now, having low phosphorus is worse than having high phosphorus, okay? But calcium, we know you don't want to have too much of that or too little of that. You just need just the right amount. And the owner's manual is going to put this in perspective to give you that balancing act, because polarity for us is the recipe, all right? Now, calcium does the tissue, magnesium does the fat. Magnesium is handling the flexibility and the fluidity of the fat, right? Remember that it's a phospholipid. So the phospho is going to get connected to calcium and the lipid is going to get connected to magnesium, okay? I want y'all to remember that as we go on. So when you're looking at flexibility and you're looking at more something to help out with the fat and the enzyme production, magnesium comes in, all right? And then last but not least is the sodium potassium. That's going to be on the outside of the cell membrane, all right? It's going to be on the outside of the cell membrane. This must keep a particular ratio. All of these got a ratio to each other. All of them got a ratio to each other. And if you don't know them, then you don't understand what you got going on. So a lot of you guys are taking blood tests. Y'all don't understand your blood test. But if you guys are taking blood tests and you got your blood test, once we get to 50K, this is an incentive for you guys to do this, okay? If you got your current blood test and you want to go through what I'm finna teach you, when we get to 50K, I'm gonna let you come on to the chat, okay? You can come on to the chat, put me in the chat, have your current blood test, and let me show you. If you haven't, remember that these are ratios that that are going to be inside and outside this cell, okay? Inside and outside this cell. All right. Inside the cell is called intracellular. Remember that we already know a few things that are more prominent inside the cell. Let me show y'all this receipt real quick. Keep tapping you guys out. Keep talking. All right. So here you go. So here goes some of your cell stuff. So we already know that iron and phosphate and magnesium and potassium are going to be higher inside the cell, right? So let's go ahead and put that here, right? So we got iron. What's my iron in? Let's put an I for inside or intracellular. We got potassium. Where my K at? For inside. All right. We got the phosphates for inside. All right. We got magnesium inside. All right. And then that's it, right? And then for the sodium, for the calcium, that's on the what? Outside of the cell. So we'll put an E. Sodium. Where's the sodium at? On the outside of the cell. So we'll put an E for extracellular. Okay? The silica is on the wall. So we'll put silica as neutral. Go both ways. All right? And then again, you got your sulfates going to be on the outside of the cell. All right? So now we see what's going on. Now let's start looking at what some of these ratios actually really mean. So if you have calcium and potassium, right? Calcium and potassium, I like to call this the top of the echelon, right? So the number 9 here, right? This is your crown chakra. I like to look at calcium and potassium as the crown chakra, okay? Calcium and potassium as the crown chakra. I'm sorry, calcium and phosphorus, right? Calcium and phosphorus, I like to look at as the crown chakra. This is all about your metabolic rate, okay? If you're having too high or too low calcium or phosphorus, it's going to handle how you break down. Remember that metabolic rate is all about how you're breaking down information or how you're building up, but it's all about the change, right? Remember that it comes in and you have to change it. You have to break down the information. What is this saying to you? What is this environmental stimuli? That is called, for me, that's metabolism. That starts at the crown chakra. That's going to be concerning your calcium and your phosphorus levels, all right? So y'all need to know that low P, low phosphorus is worse than high phosphorus, all right? Now, the next one is going to be sodium and potassium, okay? So this is your third eye. So these are ratios, right? So we just said right here is CAP. This is NA. This is NAK. Okay, so the third eye is your sodium and potassium. It is one of the most important ratios on the planet because this is your vital force, right? The vital force. Remember that sodium and potassium is on the membrane. This is your sodium and potassium pump. When this is out of order, you guys, okay? When you have a high ratio, that means that both sodium and potassium are up. You could be elevated due to toxins, acute stress, inflammation, and anger. When you have a low ratio, you could be dealing with adrenal fatigue, poor digestion, chronic stress. The list goes on. So now when you get your blood test, if they say that your sodium is low and your potassium is low, then you know you're dealing with vitality. When your sodium is, and these things fluctuate, right? So anytime we get into an acute situation, anytime you get into a fight or flight, anyway, your blood sugar gonna go up, your cholesterol gonna go up, your heart rate gonna go up, your blood pressure gonna go up. Everything is gonna go up when you get into fight or flight. So that means that this sodium and potassium shit gonna go up too. But you must be able to bring it back down into balance, okay? Calcium builds up and blocks pineal gland and keeps a low vibration. Right. That's why you got to keep a balance of it. You got to keep a balance of the calcium because not only will it block off shit, but because also you're creating bicarbonate. The calcium bicarbonate is the most alkaline substance that the kidneys can produce. So you are producing this bicarbonate, right, to help out with the toxicity. The lungs are the first responders, and then the kidneys, okay, when it comes to metabolism. When it comes to alkalosis and acidosis, all right? So now let's keep it going. All right, and so now we're looking at the thyroid, right? So now we're down here. For the thyroid, it's going to be, again, calcium and potassium. All right, calcium and potassium. When your calcium and potassium levels are high, when you got high calcium and high potassium, you're going to have hypothyroid, a low functioning thyroid. When you got low calcium and low potassium, you're going to have hyperthyroidism, okay? Remember, go get your blood test, and when you get to 50K, we'll bring you guys on. Please keep tapping. I'll keep talking, all right? So now we understand how these things are starting to deal with my emotions. Now the man done got all this kind of stuff. So what this deals with, what is your thyroid? Remember the throat chakra is the thyroid, right? So we got thyroid, we got the pituitary gland, the sodium and potassium, our aldosterone, all that type of stuff is coming from here. A lot of times when your sodium is high, you can almost look at your aldosterone and start seeing that also overactive as well. So you'll see that the sodium tends to indicate what your aldosterone is doing. Aldosterone is another thing that you guys are not looking at, and that aldosterone is directly connected to your pituitary gland. So that's why sodium and potassium is the pituitary, the third eye, the vitality, your perspective. Your perspective is going to create the balance in your sodium and potassium, right? Your ocean waters, your waves, right? Remember, we taught this in waves and in frequencies. Remember that, okay? So next here, for the air chakra here, next here we have the heart chakra. We have iron and copper, right? So iron and copper. That ain't even know here. Okay, but copper is another one of those things you want to be looking at. Okay, copper is another one of them you want to be looking at. Now, for iron and copper, if you're having out of whack iron and copper, especially if it's too high, if both of them are too high, then you're prone to viral infections. If your iron is too high and your copper is too high, you're prone for viral infections. You're also prone, if your copper is high, you're prone for copper toxicity. Okay, so if your iron levels and your copper numbers are high, you're prone for viral infections. The direct opposite is if they're low. If your iron is low and your copper is low, then you are prone to bacterial infections. Okay, y'all see how this go, right? I just went over thyroid. You guys got to come on at the right time. Okay, as soon as I get off of here, though, it'll be uploaded to YouTube. Y'all can go and do your research there. Okay, but we just got off of the thyroid. The thyroid is going to be here: calcium and potassium. Okay, and we all know how thyroid and what the calcium levels are, right? Because I keep telling y'all about the hormones and how important calcium is to your hormones. So you know that calcium is going to be important to the thyroid, the parathyroid, etc., etc. Okay, so again, if you got too high calcium and too high potassium, then you're going to have hypothyroidism. If you got too low calcium and too low potassium, then you're going to have hyperthyroidism. Okay, so it's the opposite. All right. If you have too high iron and too high copper, that means that you're going to be more privy to viral infections. If you have too low iron and too low copper, then you're more prone to bacterial infections. All right. So that's why this representing the immune system, the heart chakra. All right. Your next one here is going to be the solar plexus, right? So this is where calcium comes in again and teams up with magnesium. Okay. Calcium comes in again and teams up with magnesium. Remember that all of these is inside and outside this cell. So I'm just giving y'all this so we'll know that when we're looking at your owner's manual, we can start to be able to understand what you got going on without taking your blood test. Without pricking you, without putting you under the microscope. Nature has a way of being able to still figure out what you got going on without pricking you or putting your blood on the display. The reason why I'm emphasizing this is because you were never meant for your blood to be up on the microscope. You're never meant for your blood to be outside the body. So people who got the real techniques know what's going on without having to pull nothing out of you other than your birthday. You see, real people that know how to do this don't have to prick you, poke you, or prod you. Let's keep it moving, man. So the calcium and magnesium, all right? So this is about the blood sugar, all right? So the iron and copper is about infections. This is about blood sugar. When you have offsetting ratios of calcium to magnesium, you're going to have problems with your blood sugar, aka your digestive system as well, all right? So I just want y'all to know that now. So if these numbers are too high, then we already know you eat too many carbs. Okay. If your calcium and your magnesium is super high, you're eating too many carbs. All right. If your calcium and magnesium is low, then you already got the blood sugar issues. Okay. Especially if the magnesium loss is significant, you're already dealing with the blood sugar issues. All right. So if you're trying to understand this particular thing, you must keep your calcium and magnesium at a particular balance. Okay. If they are elevated in any kind of way, then you're already headed towards insulin resistance. And if they're low, especially the magnesium with the calcium, then you're already there. Okay, you already there. He's valid MBS. I was on the same. I don't know what y'all talking about. So is it better to take multivitamin? No, man, I'll get to all of that. It's better to take herbs, and we got it with your owner's manual. So let me get to all of that. Stop jumping the gun, okay? All right, so now, the next one you got here is going to be your sacral chakra, and this is going to represent the zinc and the copper. Okay? Now, this is zinc and copper. The other one was iron and copper, okay? So zinc and copper is going to have a lot to do with your what? Anybody know? Zinc and copper ratios is going to have a lot to do with your what? Well, what does the second chakra represent? The reproductive system, so the hormones. Zinc and copper are going to have a lot to do with your hormones, okay? Zinc and copper, both of them together. If you have too high ratios, okay? Remember that zinc is always going to correlate to progesterone with women. And zinc is going to correlate with testosterone in men, okay? So when you're looking at your zinc levels on your blood test, that can tell you, can be a very good indicator of where your progesterone levels are as a woman. Where your zinc levels are, you can start looking at your progesterone levels. Where your zinc is as a man, you can start looking at your testosterone as being right around there. It's starting to correlate. So if your zinc is high, your progesterone could be high for as a woman. If your zinc is high, then your testosterone could be high as a man. If your testosterone is high, then your zinc could be high. If your progesterone is high, then your zinc could be high as a woman. Okay, so y'all need to understand that. And then copper is going to correlate with the estrogen in both sexes. Okay, so if your estrogen is high, then your copper can be high. Remember that if your copper can high, then you can get dealt with copper toxicity. So that's not necessarily a good thing. If your estrogen is low, then that copper may be low as well. So where estrogen goes, or estrogen numbers can correlate with copper, progesterone numbers correlate with zinc in women, testosterone numbers correlate with zinc in men. Okay, so if you are dealing with low testosterone, low this, low that, then you'll know how to go with that. All right. And then last but not least is the root chakra, right? So the root chakra here is going to be sodium and magnesium. Okay, the ratios of these things, all of these play a role together some kind of way. And so if these ratios get off, especially for the root, then this is going to deal with your what? Remember, the root is the adrenals. So when I get my blood test, if my sodium and my magnesium are off kilt in any kind of way, then I can know that can have something to do with my adrenal. So if it's too high, right? If I got a high ratio, then I can be looking at toxins, right? Remember, toxins increase sodium, all right? Excessive adrenal output, acute stress. The tendency to have magnesium deficiency could also be a sign that you got high magnesium. If you got low magnesium, you can have high sodium. I'm sorry. So having a high ratio, high sodium, high magnesium could tell me that I'm dealing with toxins, excessive adrenal output, acute stress, or just magnesium deficiency. A low ratio, low sodium and low magnesium can also look at decreased adrenal effect, chronic stress, and exhaustion. Okay, and if you got excess calcium and or stress, that can set the stage for adrenal fatigue that causes a loss of sodium and potassium at the cellular level. Okay, so all of this stuff is talking about at this cellular level. Okay, so now we know that sodium and magnesium is going to deal with my adrenals. Now we know that zinc and copper is going to be dealing with my hormones. Now we understand that calcium and magnesium is going to be dealing with my blood sugar. Now we understand that iron and copper is going to be dealing with my immune system and if I'm privy to infection. Now we understand if calcium and potassium, they're going to be dealing with my what? My thyroid. Then we understand that sodium and potassium is going to be dealing with my what? My pituitary gland. Then we know that calcium and phosphorus is going to be dealing with my pineal. But you got to be able to have enough. So now you get to understand, how is it that I understand what I need? The biggest thing about medicine, the biggest thing about all of this is to know what you need. What do I need? If I'm dealing with cancer, what do I need? If I'm dealing with blindness, what do I need? If I'm dealing with paralysis, what do I need? If I'm dealing with a limb that is not working properly, what do I need? If I'm trying to regrow a toe, what does the cell need to do the job? And the owner's manual for a funky measly $50 will guide you to those things to give you what you need, all based on your birthday. Lucia Wilk said, how can I save this? It's going to be on YouTube. So just go there, subscribe, and you'll always have privy to these videos, guys. I'm going live. I'm live on YouTube as we speak. All right. So now that we understand that the brain of the cell is the cell membrane and it's controlling the perception of the environment, right? A lot like you, your brain, your mind is controlling the perception of the environment. So now we understand that the perception of the environment influences gene expression. That DNA, the nucleus, ain't nothing but a library. It ain't nothing but a storage unit of all kinds of ways you can express yourself once you realize what something is. Okay? So once you figure out what the environmental stimuli is, then you're going to interact with it. So once you perceive the environment, once your skin dictates it's cold, you're going to go put on some clothes. Once your nose dictate that your breath stink, you're going to go brush your teeth. Once your eyes dictate that it's night, they're going to go close for sleep. You understand what I'm trying to say? So once your senses gives you the perception of the environment, then whatever program gene expression, meaning that if your mama taught you how to be mad when somebody talks shit, then you're going to get mad. If your daddy taught you how to drink when he get frustrated, then when you get frustrated, you're going to drink. If your mama taught you how to smoke in order to get rid of her a coping mechanism, then you're going to smoke. So it's in the gene, it's in the library. So what's in your library is what's being programmed. And you go to any book you want to express yourself with any environmental stimuli you get. And you have so many books on how to express yourself mentally, spiritually, and emotionally when you get hit with this environmental stimuli. And what we're trying to do, again, the programming is in the deprogramming. We're not trying to put nothing else in you once we empty you. We want you to walk around this particular paradigm as a present moment vessel that doesn't take anything from the past with them. So that means that you're always naked in the present moment. You're always vulnerable. You're always willing to be filled. You're always open to the experience. And then when you're open to the experience, because you don't come in with no preconceived programs, no preconceived notions, no preconceived conditions, don't try to tell me how to be like your last wife, how to be like your last husband. Don't try to tell me how to be like no rich man you used to know. Don't try to tell me how to be like no little hussy you used to date. Don't try to tell me none of your preconceived shit. Let's let it flow and be what it is. And then we can feel if it's good or not based on nothing instead of something. When it's based on something, then it's not going to be original to us. It's original to the experience from my past, my library. So I'm going into old relationships based on the library, not based on the moment in which I feel. I'm going into dating apparatuses based on the library, not based on the things so what I'm trying to get you to understand is that remember that yesterday is your intellect, but tomorrow is your intuition. Now today is your present moment. Which one are you going to look forward to? Tomorrow. That means you need to be more intuitive, more discerning, which means that you need to be more feeling and not more thought. We got to get this thinking. We're trying to think our way through a paradigm that actually is going to require you to actually have some feeling modalities within you as well. You got to feel this healing. You got to feel like you're going to get rich. You got to feel like you're going to get that family. It's got to feel it. You got to feel it. Feel it. You can't be thinking it up. It's not going to just pop up in your head. This ain't no fairy tale. You got to feel this stuff. Okay? You got to feel yourself being healed. Feel your conditions changing. Feel your life changing. All right? And that's going to create these actions that's needed to make you move forward. All right? Any question thus far? Any question thus far, you guys? You guys got any questions? Please keep tapping out, keep talking. Y'all already late. I should already be at 50K, man, by now. So obviously y'all are tired of me talking. So I'm finna get the hell on up out of here and let y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. Selenium and manganese. I know I didn't go over these, but selenium and manganese also, like magnesium, are very, very good for the lipid side of the cell membrane. Okay, so selenium and manganese are very good for the lipid side, all right? The lipid side and the enzyme production as well of the cell life, okay? So that's what you need to know right now. But all of these are ratios to get you to understand how the brain of the cell operates, what it requires. So these are everything that the cell requires. This is everything that you need. And we got all of this stuff in herbs. Okay, we got all this stuff in herbs. And we can understand if you need inside the cell or outside the cell based on your birthday. We don't need to look at your blood test. We don't need to look at your blood. We don't need to prick you and prod you. Okay? So no deal, we writing. Yeah, don't be late to the class though. Don't be late to the class. I'm supposed to be the one thing you supposed to be show you doing on Sunday. All right? So who is confused about where the brain is in the cell? Before we go further, any confusion? So now we understand that perception of the environment influences the functionality of the cell. You are no different. You are put here in a real tricky situation. And it's how you perceive everything around you. And if you can take more of a cool-headed approach, more of a calm approach, more of a I am assured approach as you move through the paradigm, it will keep your balance at bay. Okay, it will keep everything at bay, you guys. All right. Now, it's something else that I'm gonna show you really quick before I get up out of here. All right. Okay. The cell membrane is the true brain because it perceives the environment. It processes the signals. It decides how to respond. It directs gene expression rather than being controlled by it. Okay. So now when you're looking at your brain in your head, this is what you got to look at. Your brain is perceiving the environment. It's processing the signal. It's deciding how you're responding. It's directing your gene expression rather than being controlled by it. But you got to take control. So while DNA is the blueprint, the membrane is the conscious interface of the cell. It's the seat of cellular intelligence. So the same way that the brain membrane of the cell is the same way your brain works. And we got to get you to understand how to work this thing. Okay? Because once we can get you to understand how to work it, then you'll see. So you see right here, you guys, look at this. Right? These are the herbs that we work with in your owner's vein. Okay? So for calcium, we got things like nettle, horsetail, yellow dot, skullcap, valerian, black cohosh, magnesium, nettle, skullcap, valerian, burdock, black cohosh, yellow dot, potassium, right? Sodium, phosphorus, iron, silica, zinc. Look at it. These are the herbs that we work with. And it's covering all of the stuff, the zinc, the copper, the selenium. Okay? That's why this shit works. Because we've already done the science of it. I'm not on here trying to teach y'all nothing else but the truth. Okay? So in these particular herbs that we give you based on your birthday, we'll never miss the boat. We'll never miss the boat. Okay? Because we know that we're going to be giving you nutrient-dense herbs. We know we're going to be giving you iron-rich herbs. We know we're going to be giving you calcium-rich, magnesium-rich. All the stuff that we just named is in all of those herbs, and you get either one or two of all of those herbs with your I mean, not one or two. You get either 7, 8, or 9 or 12 of those herbs when you order. Right? So we're covering the bases. It's just based on your birthday. Your birthday will quantify which ratios, which herbs, which deficiencies, which minerals. Is all based on Mama Nature, baby. And for a measly, funky $50, that's what we're bringing to the table. We have it all down packed for you, even down to the chakras, the spiritual tendencies, the physical tendencies, everything you need. This is a nature, probably the best nature-based. I ain't gonna say probably, it is. Until I see somebody who can really bring something that don't have modern technology attached to it. Some old shit like using somebody's birthday. Not with no bioresonance and with no little machine. I'm talking about just old ass birthday. Just give me your birthday and let mama tell you the regimen and then watch how your health get. Nobody is doing that. But this is the owner's manual. That's why I bought the owner's manual. Yes, what if we have been through stuff, robbed our bodies outside of our birthday? It doesn't really matter. Your birthday holds the tendency. So you can't run away from your birthday. All right, you can't outrun or outlive the information coming from your birthday. So your birthday probably already says that you have these tendencies. Okay, and so it's there that we need to create the polarity recipe for these tendencies, and that's how we do that with your birthday. Okay, so the birthday is giving me your tendency. You got a tendency to do stuff. You're not catching nothing by surprise. If you're over anxious, if you're over if hyped up and high energy, that's in your birthday. If you calm and cool and laid back, that's in your birthday. If you this and that, that's in your birthday. You ain't going out. You can't out the birthday. You can't catch the birthday by surprise. This information will catch you by surprise. Okay, this information will catch you by surprise, but you can't catch God by surprise. What if I'm both? I don't know what you mean. I'm calm and goofy. So what? You can be calm and goofy. That's not opposition. That's a great combination. All right. I'm obsessive. Okay, so you must have some of that Pisces in you. You must have some of that Pisces or either that Virgo. I think that's that Virgo with that obsessive. I'm not trying to give any kind of opposition, but you got to do opposition. Polarity is the recipe. Nowhere arranged. So I just got here. Okay, welcome. So that includes if I overuse corticosteroid. If you overuse anything fake, then you already know you're in trouble. Okay, so we're not looking at all that type of stuff. Some stuff you got to make sense, you guys. All right. Okay, let's make sense. You're talking to me. You got an opportunity to talk to me. Make it make sense. Okay. Yeah. I mean, when you said obsessive, then I knew it was one of the two. Well, tell me what you're talking about. Now, I'm not going to go back over what I'm talking about. No, well, it's not that important. If you want to follow me, go to my YouTube page. You'll see what I'm all about. If you need my help, though, then you can DM me your birthday and we can get you taken care of. But to go back over what I've been talking about, it's going to take years, okay? It's going to take years. Because I came in and you said if you're calm, it's because of your birthday. No, I wasn't talking about it. You calm because of your birthday. So I need the herbs in my manual, right? Yes, everybody needs the herbs in their manual. How would I know if I need your help? I don't know what you do. I help people with health issues, okay? So if you got any kind of health issues, that means mental health, spiritual health, emotional health, or physical health, I help you with that, Noel, okay? So that's what I do. I'm a holistic practitioner, and that's what I do. I help people with mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical health deficiencies. My comment didn't show up. I must have used the wrong words. Yeah, you know they'll hide your comments on here, you guys. All right, so they will hide your comments. What was your question? Oh, thank you very much. What is your question? Listen, man, from just the birthday. Yeah, that's what we do, just from the birthday. We don't need nothing else. Chiropractic, bipolar, don't know what you mean. It was about the book, How to Get It. Oh, yes, just DM me, Catrice. Okay, you DM me and you can get the owner's manual, okay? All right. So the brain of the cell operates just how you do. That is the biggest point about this subject. The brain of the cell is operating just like you. Your perceptions of this environment is causing you the problems. And when we're able to get you to perceive in this particular experience differently than what you've been perceiving, then that's when we're going to change the modality. Remember that I told you about this. The image comes into the eye and your brain flips it. Okay? So what if you're flipping something that you ain't got no business flipping it? And then what if you're calling something you ain't got no business calling it based on your linguistics? We always used to have this debate back in the day with the Bible, right? If you take words out of the Bible, Hebrew, some of those words mean a lot more than what the English words mean. So then do you really get the defining understanding of the Bible if you don't read it in Hebrew? They've been talking about that for years. I remember when I was first coming up, that was the whole thing, right? Are we lessening the effectiveness of the Bible if we don't use the Hebrew words, right? And everybody said, I guess not. So now you got it translated in so many different languages. All right. Now that translation, the Bible is translated in so many different languages. That translation is also going to play a role in how you express your genes. Genesis, the genealogy of Adam. How do you express the physical environmental stimuli is based on how you translate the experience, the environmental stimuli. So when this image of God come into your mind, how do you transition? So you see Jesus because they have programmed that in you. So when somebody say God, you see Jesus. It might be white Jesus, it might be black Jesus, but you might see Jesus. If somebody say Jesus, you might look at a man. If somebody say the name of Jesus, you might think of a black man or a white man. So the thing about it is none of those images are actually being interpreted properly. But your programming express these conditions like this. Your programming is going to express your particular understanding of the mental environmental stimuli like this. It's how you talk. You get what I'm saying? It's how you talk. And so what I'm saying is you don't believe that you can heal without medication, because what's happened is you've gotten to a point where your body stopped healing itself. And you ask yourself, well, shit, it was doing good, then why I don't do it no more? Then I need medication. No, you just need to stop what you're doing, pause and rest and fast and chill and stop doing the things that are running you down and give the body the time, hibernate, and watch the body replenish itself. You got blood doing it in 4 months. You got this to do it. You got the stomach that'll do it in a week. You got so many different things that can do it, but you won't pause and rest. You see? So now we're hit with this understanding, and we don't know what we're doing. And that's why we're here in this situation that we're in. So we got to be able to change it. And what we're trying to do is give you this owner's manual so we'll know exactly where we need to start at, why we need to start there, and what we're looking for in the interval. So we ain't out in the dark trying to do this thing. Y'all give me a second, man. It's raining out here. Let's see if we can get some of these clothes in. Huh?
I said they have shown that there would be a bad thunderstorm. Você.
Yes, sir. Real life situations out here in this rain. I don't know how many of y'all are still washing clothes on a clothesline, but that's the best way to wash clothes. Okay. All right. So we get inundated with it, man. Get in the rain, get outside, do what you got to do. So this is what it's all about. Okay. Some of y'all would have put on a raincoat and took all this, that, and the third, and scared to get that rain on you. Scared to get that. It cold like, let me get my raincoat. Your clothes would have been wet by then. You know what I'm talking about? So anyway, being able to change your perception, right? So what we're trying to do here is this right here. Very quickly, very easy, and I'm out of here, okay? What we're trying to do is this right here, right? Right, the image coming into the eye is upside down. Okay, I know y'all don't know nothing about that, but that's what it is. It's upside down. And on top of that, it's reversed. It's upside down and reversed. So what we're seeing out here coming into the eye is upside down and reversed. Okay. Then the brain flips it. So now the image is upright the way that you perceive things. Then it goes to linguistics, or the language side of the brain, which is the left brain, which is masculine energy, which is intellect, which is your yesterday. So the images and the environmental stimuli, again, I keep connecting these dots to try to tell y'all, to show y'all different ways. So remember that we're talking about your library. The nucleus is the library. It's the DNA storage. It's yesterday. It's intellect, right? It's gene expression that people have been programmed in you. And then also things that you have locked in within yourself based on your experiences, okay? So gene expression. So the image is coming in upside down and reversed. Your brain done flipped it and then connected it to language. Now, what if the flip, you've never really seen anything in its proper image. And because of your language, you never really called anything its original name. And so what my thing is to you is that what if this is heaven and your brain is flipped it as a hellacious experience? And so what I'm trying to teach you is that your suffering is actually a moment for transformation. But what you're trying to do is run from suffering. So you're running from your own transformation. You're running from your own timeless moment to do the thing in the soul. You're running from it. And we need for you to face this particular understanding so that you can be able to see it for what it's worth. And that's why they call it the matrix, is because it's the red pill, blue pill. Which one do you want to do? Do you want to, the red pill is your language on it, and the blue pill is your brain flipping it. Which one you want to do? If you can see it the right way, don't flip it and then don't call it nothing. Don't flip it and then don't put your programming on it. See it for what it really is. See it for what it really is. And so what we're trying to say to you is that if perception is the rudimentary influence to my cells and to myself, then this has to be the area where I need to change how I am viewing this life experience, how I am perceiving 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 this life experience. Your pastor can't teach this better than me today. Your therapist can't teach you this better than me today. Your doctor couldn't teach you this better than me today. I could teach Rico this on the block and then also teach Bernard this in the professor room. So I want you to understand that what we're trying to do is show you the importance of the influence of how you perceive your environment, your life. And because you're perceiving life as a bunch of goddamn bads and wrongs and a bunch of hurts and some pains, then guess what? Your cells is feeling hurt. Your cells is feeling pain. And therefore you, my friends, are feeling the same hurt and pain. Because you are expressing this as a response to the image or the environmental stimuli. So religion has a lot to do with how you perceive. The government has a lot to do with how you perceive. Your education systems have a lot to do with how you're going to interact, how you know what it is, and then what you're gonna do about it. That what it is everything. So these folks done got us to be able to identify these images with the wrong motherfucking words. These folks done got us to be able to identify these issues with the wrong expressions. And so that's why when Joe's wife said, cuss God or die, he said, good, you must be crazy. Because what you see is this thing, I perceive it as another thing. You perceive it as I'm fucked up. I perceive it as good, we about to get blessed up. Because I looked at suffering as an opportunity, where you looked at suffering as a give up and a surrender. And we don't want you to give up your life. We just want you to surrender the fact that you don't know what you're doing with this life. And let God show you how. And God is the nature. And that's what you get in your owner's mind. Any questions? Anybody got any questions? Everybody, does anybody not understand what I'm bringing to the table? What you don't, what you get, what you don't get with me, what you think you getting, what you don't want to get? Does anybody understand? You don't have to believe in this for this to work for you. Okay? This is just a health tool to get you to learn how to grow your wealth, your health, and grow in your community belonging. Okay? That's all this is. I'm just pointing out to you that sometimes you guys got to change the way that you're perceiving what you're going through. It's not the end of the road. It's not death. It's not the end of life. But if they keep on buying into that, if you got that in your library, if that's the way that you want to express, and you want to go out like a champ like that, then that's fine. But there's everlasting life in that library too. There's everlasting life in that storage unit called the mitochondrial DNA. There's everlasting life in that library, in that DNA storage. You just got to be able to read that book too. Because you can't keep reading all the books about everybody dying. Then yes, you're going to think that that's what you do too. So we got to check again. We're flipping this thing. Flipping it back to this original image. Okay? Because a lot of you guys like to get sick and then act like you don't know why. A lot of y'all like to get this and that and act like you don't know why. Why your kidneys bad? Well, I've been on high blood pressure, diabetes medication for 30 years. Well, then that's why your kidneys bad. You know why. But again, you done flipped it in your brain. So you flip these things to do these things. I flip it, look, I'm fucked up this bad. I need to do this. So I flip it to make it do what it need to do for me so that I can respond the way I feel like is viable for me. And that flipping is what I believe is the centerpiece of the dispel in the world. Is what I believe it is. Because if a man can get you to believe in the capitalism, that means that you believe that you lacked. Because if you knew that you were abundant in earth, nobody could sell you capitalism. Nobody could take all of your grapes off the tree and then sell them to you at the store. Unless you had flipped something in your brain. When I was coming up from the country, my grandmama and them didn't eat nothing without a bone. I never had fish filleted. I had fish on the bone. A bass and a brim and a catfish was all whole fish. Even as a baby, we used to eat it with the bone because we knew how to eat around the bone. So I never understood how you could just go in a store and buy fish without a bone and call it a fillet, because then that means that you don't require bone and you don't require real. I never had a pork chop without that bone in it, because the bone carried the flavor. So I don't know nothing about filet pork chops, and I don't know nothing about pork chop without a bone. And because that's let you know that come from the pig. And so if it don't got a bone, then you allow people to make things in the laboratory. If you don't require a seed, then you allow people to make your food in the laboratory. So it is because you are flipping the scenario. And so you know that work ain't life, but what it is that you flipped it and now you've made life work. I'm finna go there with y'all now, but you know that. You know what's going on with you, but you flip it to make it fit the program. You know what's going on with you, but you flip it. You flip that molestation. You flip that rape. You flip that murder. You flip that robbery. You flip that cheating, that disloyalty. You flipped it to make it fit your programming. But just because you flipped it don't mean it went nowhere. And so now it's floating around in you like an alien, like a cancer, like a cell with no destination, because it's still there. And your flipping don't erase it. Your flipping suppresses it. And then now you don't know how to handle it when it gets into the program. All right? So you must understand that the owner's manual That's what we're trying to do. We're going to give you a visual on you, give you a visual on how you're going around this circle of life, give you a visual of the herbs and the foods, and we'll give you a visual chart on all these different things, your chakras and spiritual tendencies and all this lovely information for you to just end up understanding that if in your time of need, now you have the manual in the palm of your hands that's going to help you heal yourself. Period. Bentley Project said profession. Yes, sir. That's it. That's it. Right. So that's all we're trying to do is figure out what's real. Okay. What's real? If you've never seen the image the right way, and if you've never called the thing the right name, how do you know where you at? How do you know what this experience is? That's why the third eye was left behind. The third eye was left behind not because it instituted the third eye. The third eye was left behind to show you about the light spectrum going into the eye, okay? The light spectrum going into the eye, right? Anything that goes into the eye goes in and gets crisscrossed, okay? Anything that goes into the eye goes in and get crisscrossed, okay? And that's called your chasm. Your optic chasm, okay? And so that crisscrossing is automatically letting you know. That's why the right brain handles the left side of the body, and that's why the left brain handles the right side of the body, because it goes behind your forehead is crisscrossed. So you're cross-eyed behind your forehead, okay? And your cortex, right, this pyramid right here between, on the top of your two eyes in the middle of your forehead, that's the third eye. That's the pyramid, because that's the cortex of the brain, which is doing all of this crazy shit. Okay? That's all that this is about. So I can get into biology, but I want you to understand spiritually that we're merging this science and spirit together so that you can have an experience that you've been needing and wanting and dying for, literally, to have in this particular paradigm. So that's why we call this, and if we're going to continue to keep calling it from now on out, the experience, right? The experience, right? Which is going to be the combination between spirit and science. And we're going to holistically start to blend these things back together to put our people back together again, and the puzzle of life back together again for all of us, so we can make life a little bit more content, a little bit more loving, belonging, easier for each and every one of us. So it doesn't, once you remove the perception, once you remove the program, then if you came into this world poor, are you really poor? Okay? Come on, somebody. I'm talking to y'all. Keep tapping out, keep talking. You guys, let's get us up to 100,000. Once I remove the program, your definition of poverty no longer exists. So if you come into this particular paradigm with nothing, are you really poor? No, because earth, you've already came in with the understanding that earth will yield the abundance. See? So then that alleviates poverty as a stress. So poverty is gone if I change my perspective. If I see that the earth is abundant, then they can't trick me no more with a job and poverty and lack and education and college degree. And I don't got to waste time chasing capitalism. I can just waste time chasing the abundance of earth. No stress. Now let's keep on going. If I deprogrammed you from disease and how you catch disease, then will you have a disease in this particular paradigm? No. So then you eradicate disease. So now you ain't stressing over disease, because now you understand that your body heals itself. So therefore you can never really have a death-defying disease, because if your body heals itself, all you got to do is let the shit do it. Your body only heals itself when you leave it alone. And when you leave it alone right now is the only time when you sleep. So the only time you leaving your body alone right now is when you sleep. But if you understood and we took the perception that you were programmed with about disease away, then now guess what? You'll be able to sleep the day away. You ain't stressing about nothing. Bananas growing on trees, apple growing on trees. You don't need no animal flesh, so you ain't fucking with that. So then that means that this shit is just abundant. You can't eat all the apples, all the berries, all the nuts, all the fruits off these trees. You can't do it. So now I'm in abundance and I'm eating the right proper diet. And on top of that, I know that my body can heal itself. So because I'm on the diet of the climate, when it's no more fruits and vegetables, I don't eat nothing. So I'm already inundated. I'm already innately with the fasting. I'm already doing the intermittent fasting based on me just hanging with the seasons. When I got something, I eat. When I don't, I don't. So now when it comes to disease, I know how to let it rest. So I never really catch shit. So when I alleviate money has been a stress, I alleviate death or disease has been a stress. What is your stress? What's going to be your stress? Oh, you said family, relationship. Okay, cool. If I deprogram you from the program that people hurt people, and I start to be able to get you to understand that ignorant people hurt people, but once you get this person into the know about their own value, this person will never hurt another person's life because of the value that they perceived in their own life. And so the reason why a motherfucker kill you because they'll kill themselves. But once you start to elevate the value of the particular mindset of the person, then that person will hold themselves up in so much regard that they'll never hurt and harm another species, including not only a human, but animals too. You put so much value in them, they'll tell a plant thank you before they eat it. The value of life. Okay, so now you ain't got to worry about family or anything like that, because now once I deprogram you from this individualism and get you to understand that you are part of the collective and that you are valuable in that collective, all the way from fetus all the way on up to cletus, you understand that you have a value, a positioning that you're holding in the land of humanity, and then you in the community of humanity, and then guess what now? Can't nobody trick you about you need a woman for this and kids for that and a husband for this and children for that, because you can just be you and still get the value out of life without ever being a mama or a daddy, because the value is in being a man and a woman. The ultimate title is being a man and a woman. All these other shits don't exist. Don't try to be no mama. Don't try to be no wife. Don't try to be no husband. Don't try to be no brother. Don't try to be no father. Just simply try to be the best woman and the best man, and then let all the other stuff fall like how they may. Because when you start thinking that all these other titles are more important, and you haven't even got to your original design, you haven't even got to the contentment of the original design, you haven't even got to the understanding of the original design, and you'll let programming come in and make you be something else. I want to be the CEO of my own business. I want to have 10 children. I want to be over here and live over here. I want to go over here and work on cars. I want to go invent this and do this. And motherfucker, you ain't even got hell bent on the real purpose. So you took the programming purpose instead of the real genetic purpose for your life. All God wants you to do is be the best man and woman you can be, and then let the other stuff fall how the chips may fall. You got plenty of people who are great mechanics and bad people. Great pastors, but bad men and women. Like how? It's because you negated the real true purpose, the real true design, the real true calling. It's just to be a stand-up man and woman. Because when we get hit with all these other programs, they take you away from you being able to reach your original status. And that's why we falter and we can't get back on track, because we never was on track. We was following the program. All right? Following the program. And the program comes with a whole bunch of things. I don't know if y'all know about computers, but programs come with Trojans. They come with worms. They come with spermware. They come with firmware. They come with firewalls. They come with all kinds of stuff that's looking to invade the program. And that's what these other programs are. That's what education, school system education. It'll take your child off. You know how many children nowadays don't even want to be like their mom and daddy? They want to be like Michael Jordan. They want to be like somebody else outside of the home. Why? Because again, now you're making them want to be a basketball player instead of being a man. You learn how to be a man from your father. You learn how to be a woman from your mother. That's it. You don't need to be nothing else. Okay? So they're getting inspired because you're putting into this particular program. They're inspired to be somebody better, somebody other than you is egregious. I hate it. He really speaking facts. I resonate with the light he's transmitting. Thank you, Poppy King. All right. So, but at the end of the day, that's all we're trying to get you to see is what if you have mistakenly identified this experience? What if you have mistakenly identified this experience as a human? And what if we are calling things and perceiving things as though they as though they are when they're really not? And how do we see things in the real? How do we see things in the truth? I think that we got to see it from a place of peace and contentment. You can't see heaven until you get into a place of contentment and peace. You have to allow your wants, needs, and desires to be on hold to create this timeless moment for yourself to be able to feel what I'm trying to get you to understand. You ever been somewhere and it just felt good? Without nobody touching you, without nobody saying nothing to you. You know, sometimes when I get into the bed, it just feel good. It just, I got my son behind me, I got my wife with me, then it just, they don't be knowing it, but it's like a little butterfly go through your stomach where you just feel good. And ain't nobody said they love you, ain't nobody gave you no special privilege. It's just a feeling that you're feeling because you're thinking in the present moment how good it is to be experiencing that feeling. But see, some people get so far into the future that they don't get content with that feeling of sense of belonging and goodness. Because your brain too busy. You want more and more. But you can ever feel content with today. If I'd have died in my sleep, I'd have been all right. Creating these timeless moments. I can teach you this because I am literally not only the president of this information, but I'm also the client of it. Describing my brain, absolutely. Yes. So when people ask me, how can you describe the feeling that you're trying to get us to get? It's that feeling that I just told you about being in the bed, where it don't require a touch. It don't require anything. It requires just a focus on what you have in that moment. I'm asleep with my son, with my wife in South Africa. Who would have thought? Who living like me? Why am I worried about tomorrow when today was awesome? When right now at the moment, even though I'm in the bed, I hear him snoring, breath stinking. I heard somebody pooting across the room. But the fact of the matter is, I got to hear it. I got to be in it. I got to smell the breath. I got to hear the poop. I got to feel the thing of what God is doing in my life, where I'm going. You can't be so busy under Satan's yoke that you can't experience a timeless moment. God damn it, y'all. Don't get me mad at y'all on Sunday. But y'all keep fumbling across my page like somebody playing with y'all. And we're not. You can heal yourself. And if you're looking for information to do that, DM us and we'll get you the information to your owners mail. Any questions? Any questions? Act on your highest frequency. Feeling. It's all about feeling. Remember, I'm telling y'all about this butterfly thing. It's a feeling that I'm getting by thought. I'm thinking of how amazing life is at the moment. I ain't thinking about smoking a blunt tomorrow, drinking a beer tomorrow, what I'm gonna eat tomorrow, what I'm gonna wear in the morning, what goddamn who foot on me, who was the 140? Damn, and why does it smell like shit? And why does your breath stink so bad? No, you just in it. You in the moment and you're like, man, this is fucking awesome. It's awesome. But people with money will say you ain't got nothing because you don't know what I'm chasing. And people with this will say you ain't got that because you don't know what I'm chasing. And people with that will say you ain't, and people that ain't got nothing to say you got this, and people that got something to say you ain't got that, because you don't know what I'm chasing. And it ain't none of that shit. It's none of it. And so when you're going to church today, stop treating it like Santa Claus. Keep your mouth closed. You don't need nothing. You don't desire nothing. You don't want nothing. Go up in that thing talking about some, I just want to take a praise break because I got everything in this moment that I need. Because see, it's all about the moment. You may need some water, but you don't need it right now. You good right now. You may do need some tissue, but you don't need it right now. You ain't got to use the bathroom. See, it's in the moment I can be satisfied and content, and I can practice on praising in peace. I'm peaceful. I don't need nothing right now. Even if I need some next week, I might need some tomorrow. I might need some an hour from now. But I just caught the moment. And when I caught the moment, I realized in my thought pattern that I didn't need and I didn't desire and I didn't have. Everything I had it in the moment. And what I didn't have, I ain't give a damn about. I was appreciative. And I can go to sleep in peace. And I wake up with more invigoration. I wake up with more power, more passion. I wake up with more endowment. The more I keep brushing off the program, the more I keep fighting off the roboticism, the more I keep defending myself against the routine, the more I keep going to war with the matrix and the invaders and the infiltrators. I'm realizing that this thing called heaven and being alive in heaven is about simply allowing for it to come into your consciousness while you yet live. If I'm living and I am expressing myself as if I'm in heaven, and then therefore I'm in a heavenly consciousness, and now I'm in my heavenly body, my holism, my holyism. I'm in that Christ conscious. I am in where I need to be. And in that is everlasting life. I love you guys, man. And it's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Please go tell somebody about your homie HerbMan. And until next time, love HerbMan. If you guys are interested in your owner's manual, please DM us and we'll get you the information that you need. I appreciate all of the love, all of the concerns. Please go subscribe to the YouTube. Go follow us. Be somewhere to be found when the HerbMan show comes on. Until next time, peace. Enjoy your Sunday. Woozay! Yes, sir. Peace, peace.